So, Foo Fighters, the movie, otherwise known as Studio 666, is about the Foo Fighters trying to record their 10th album. They need a new location for it, and they're trying to figure out like what would be the right sound for the album. And they decide on this kind of haunted house kind of setting. But what it is, it's a pretty good movie. I would say one of the negatives are there's a lot of focus on Dave Grohl. Now, I know he's the front man, and he is a great musician by himself. Like, he's written loads of songs. He was the drummer for Nirvana. He was with Queens of the Stone Age. He's done a lot. And he's completely amazing. So, all credit to him. But when the movie's focused is about the Foo Fighters, I kind of want a bit more from the rest of the band. Like, apart from having a bit of banter where they're telling Dave to piss off and stuff like that, no one really had their own kind of thing in the movie. It was mainly about Dave investigating these spooky going-ons in the house, getting writer's block for the album, and nothing really else was happening. None of the other Foo Fighters got any spotlight or any kind of their own scenes. The only one who kind of did was Pat. He showed up twice, but both times were kind of interrupted by Dave, which is fine. I get it. And like, Dave wrote this movie, so you know it's going to be a lot of him. But yeah, that's one of the negatives. I would also say it's kind of like Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, but it's not as funny. Like, it doesn't have that kind of humour in it that makes you kind of laugh from the belly. It's more of a kind of humour, and there's a very few moments where you can actually do that. What kind of wins me over with this movie is the actual soundtrack itself. Now, the introduction was by John Carpenter, which blew me away right from the get-go. I did not expect to see him in this movie. I think he was in this movie. Him and his son, I believe they were the sound mixers. I don't know, because I know what he looked like in Halloween, but I don't actually know necessarily what he looks like now. I saw an interview in 2018, but of course it's been 4 years, so he could have aged dramatically. Yeah, so what kind of saved this movie for me was the music. Like, there were a lot of drum solos, there were a lot of guitar solos. There's a lot of kind of things that kind of segregate themselves within certain points of the movie, and it kind of helps it kind of plot itself along, because it pulls you in, and it kind of, if you like the Foo Fighters, it's exactly what you want, and you'll kind of be like bumping. Like, there's one girl in the cinema actually like headbanging to the actual songs. That was pretty funny. The guy next to me really didn't like it, but you know, it's the cinema. I'd rather she's like headbanging and enjoying herself than bloody on her phone or doing some stupid narrating or something like that. I would say the ending is kind of like the worst nightmare for everyone in the situation. You can leave that completely up to your interpretation, because you probably won't guess what it's going to be. You really aren't going to guess what it is. Like, all the bits that you kind of expect from the trailer, like you have like the exorcism where like David's kind of like floating and stuff like that. You don't really get much of that in the movie. That's literally when they're trying to figure out, is he possessed, and you get like little scenes where he's doing all the things it's mentions in the exorcism book. That's quite humorous, but yeah, I could have done with a little bit more plot. That would have been nice. A little bit more development for everybody else. Yeah, other than that, I quite enjoyed the movie, and I'll definitely watch it again. And I'll listen to the soundtrack on Spotify, because it's amazing. It really, really is.